And now for another very important ingredient, high proof grain alcohol. This stuff is strong. It is extremely flammable. It's 190 proof. You cannot drink this as is. It will literally burn your insides. Madonna. Whew. Do not drink it. Everyone loves a sweet treat every now and then, and I have 3 that are stunning, delicious, and use one of my favorite ingredients in the entire world, Sorrento lemons. First up, a traditional Italian liqueur, Limoncello. Then, my lemon curd tartlets. Finally, my favorite, a lemon and olive oil bundt cake with limoncello glaze. So grab a lemon and pucker up. It's not every day that produce from Italy comes in, but when my local Italian market gets the first batch of Sorrento lemons, I am like a kid on Christmas morning. Aside from the obvious difference in size, this lemon has more bumpy skin, which contains more oils. So if you're using its zest or steeping it for something like limoncello, you're gonna get that much more flavor. Let's start making our limoncello. The first thing we need to do is peel these beautiful lemons. Grab your favorite peeler and just start peeling strips of the skin. Take your time. We don't want to leave any of the skin behind. We don't want to waste any of that flavorful skin. I wish you can smell how fragrant this is. It's amazing. Has a more sweet aroma than your traditional store-bought lemon. I'm making a huge batch of limoncello, so we're gonna need 8 of these lemons. If you're using regular organic lemons, you're going to need at least 12 of them. My hands are gonna smell so good by the time I'm done with this. My carpal tunnel, however, not so much. Last one. Awesome. Look how beautiful all these peels are. The next step is to peel off any excess pith. So I'm going to go through all of these and make sure that there's nothing that has more pith than what I'm seeing on this lemon. Now for the fun part. Grab yourself a fairly large glass jar, at least 56 ounces if possible, and simply add your hard work right into the jar. All of these gorgeous Sorrento lemon peels. And now for another very important ingredient, high proof grain alcohol. This stuff is strong. It is extremely flammable. It's 190 proof. You cannot drink this as is. It will literally burn your insides. But it's that power that is going to help pull all the flavor, all of the oils out of these lemon peels. Madonna. Whew. Do not drink it. And I'm gonna add the whole 1 liter bottle right to our jar. Perfect. Now all that's left to do is wait. For me, it's more of a visual cue. I want the lemon peels to be pale, which means that all of the flavor, all of these oils have been sucked out of the peels. So around 1 to 2 weeks is probably best. Thankfully, I have a little trick up my sleeve. If you've been watching, you'd notice that we had this hiding in the corner the last few weeks, steeping just for today. And you can see the obvious difference. This is a deep golden yellow color. Isn't it beautiful? we have everything we need. I made some simple syrup earlier that we're going to add to our strained limoncello. Oh, did you hear that pop? It smells a little bit like cleaning supplies right now. Don't worry about that. We'll take care of it. Get yourself an even bigger glass jar. Just going to place a strainer on top of our new jar and carefully, to hopefully not lose any of this liquid gold, pour it. I didn't think this part through, did I? All right, we're just gonna go for it. Oh my God, how cool is that? That was easier than I thought it was gonna be. Now we're gonna pour our simple syrup right in. Look at how the color changes. It's this beautiful, sunshiny yellow color. At this point, it's almost done, but it's still way too strong to drink. So we have one last ingredient to add. Some cold water. This recipe makes a lot, so I hope you have a lot of friends. Just give it a little bit of a stir. Then it's just time to start bottling. Funnel will make this process a lot easier. Perfect. Just seal them up as you finish bottling though. Is that beautiful? I'd be very happy if someone brought me one of these bottles of limoncello. You can find these glass bottles at some craft stores, but I normally find them at a store that sells containers. There's a little bit left, which I'll jar later, but that's for me. Gorgeous. I'm going to let these cure in the freezer for a week. The good news is they could live in there for a year, just in time for the next Sorrento lemon season. When I was interning in southern France, I learned how to make the best lemon curd I've ever had in my life. And thankfully, Chef Laurent was kind enough to share the recipe with me, and this is my version of it. The first thing we need to do is prepare our butter. This is one of those times when we want very cold butter. We don't want it room temperature. And I'm just gonna cut it into cubes. About a 1/2 inch cube would be perfect. Using 2 sticks, a full 1/2 pound of butter for this recipe. Definitely one of the reasons why this is so delicious. Set that aside. Let's start our curd. Now, I'm not one for really weird quantities in baking or cooking in general, but this recipe is so perfect that it does call for a weird amount of lemon juice. Exactly a 1/2 cup plus 4 teaspoons. It has to be that quantity, trust me. Don't round up, don't round down. Some sugar, 3/4 of a cup, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then some eggs. Three whole eggs and 1 yolk. This extra yolk is going to add a bit more decadence and richness. Okay, I'm gonna put this over medium heat. We don't wanna put it on top of an aggressive heat because we don't want scrambled eggs. Grab a whisk, start combining all of these ingredients. You wanna keep whisking over the medium heat until it starts to steam, and you'll feel this mixture getting thick. Starting to see my first wisps of steam. And it's done, just like that. Immediately off the heat, grab a spatula and through a fine mesh strainer into a food processor. Scrape it all down. Get every last bit of this curd in there. And then kind of in a back and forth stirry motion, start pushing your curd through the strainer. Put on your lid the right way. Turn your machine on. And then we're going to start adding our butter, a cube at a time. And it looks great to me. I'm going to transfer this to a bowl. Look how silky, how smooth, and how beautiful it is. And it is delicious too, I promise. I can guarantee you that this lemon curd is life-changing. Into the fridge for 4 hours or overnight until it's nice and thick. Thankfully, I have one all ready to go. Here I have some phyllo dough shells that you can find in the frozen section of your grocery store. We're gonna fill them with this delicious curd. Let me show you how to set up a piping bag. Fold down the top. Then you want to choose a tip. I'm going with a medium small round tip. Cut a hole for your tip and slide it in. Right side up, preferably. Then just push it forward and then pull to stretch out the plastic just a little bit. That'll lock it in place. And then simply just add this beautiful curd right into your bag. That'll be plenty for these tartlets. I'm gonna fill these with a slightly heaping mound of the curd, just like that. This smooth curd against this crispy phyllo shell is the perfect combination of textures. I'm gonna finish these off with a couple of things. First, a fresh raspberry for a little bit of color and just a sweet little pop of extra flavor. These are looking amazing already, but I have one more special touch to add to them. A little powdered sugar. It's pretty and adds just a kiss of extra sweetness. Just give it little gentle taps. A little bit of early morning snow. Aren't these just so adorable? They're delicious too, and I know my neighbors are gonna love them. So I'm gonna be a good boy, and I'm not going to touch them. No one said anything about the leftover curd, though. This is one of the moistest cakes you will ever have. Honestly, I would have a slice of this simple and elegant Bundt cake over a layer cake any day of the week. You always want to start with your dry ingredients. 2½ cups of flour, right into your bowl. Okay. Then we need some salt. You always need salt when baking. It helps bring out all the flavors of everything else that is in your batter. 1 teaspoon of that. I'm using 2 different leaveners, baking powder and baking soda. So just a ½ teaspoon of the baking soda. And then 1½ teaspoons of our baking powder. Okay. I'm whisking this really well to evenly distribute all of the leaveners. Perfect. Set this aside and let's get started on our wet ingredients. First up, a stick of European or European style butter right into the bowl of a stand mixer. Then some sugar. 1 3/4 cup of sugar. Just add that right on in. May sound like a lot, but this is not an overly sweet cake. The olive oil component of our cake, make sure you're using a floral olive oil. This is definitely not the time for a peppery olive oil. This is dessert. 1/4 cup of this liquid gold. It smells so good. It's gonna go right on in, get all of those last little drips. And some lemon zest. Using a Sorrento lemon here, so half of the zest of this lemon will be more than enough. Paddle attachment. And we want to beat this until it's super pale and nice and fluffy. You can see it lightening in color already. We can start adding our eggs. 3 large eggs. Scrape it down again. Make sure there are no bits of egg that were missed. At this point, we're also going to add a little bit of vanilla. I feel like every baked good needs just a little bit of vanilla. 1 teaspoon. We have our dry ready. We just need to finish our wet. I have a 1/4 cup of that delicious lemon juice from our Sorrento lemons. And to that, I'm going to add 3/4 cup of buttermilk. Give it a little bit of a swirl to incorporate. And now, let's finish it up. Start by adding half of your dry and slowly on low so it doesn't fly out at you. Let it go. And as soon as it's almost fully incorporated, start drizzling in your buttermilk mixture. All that's left is our remaining dry ingredients. Once again, incorporate on low speed. And you want to stop the machine as soon as it looks like it's almost all incorporated. Right there. I'll finish the rest by hand. You never want to overmix a cake batter. It'll get really tough. I want to lick this, but I'm not. Just going to make sure that any bits of flour are fully incorporated at this point. This looks great. Let's get into our pan. It's a nice, thick, luxurious batter. You can see some of those specks of the lemon zest in here. It's going to be so delicious. Just gently start smoothing it. If you made a mess like I did, just carefully clean it up without ruining too much of your greased pan. One last thing that I like to do before I put it in the oven, a few taps on the countertop just to knock out any large air bubbles that may be in there. You want to bake this for 45 minutes at 350 degrees until a cake tester comes out clean when inserted in the center. Is this cake not stunning? You want to allow your cake to cool completely till it's cold to the touch, basically, at least room temperature, or your glaze will not set. So let's get started on it. 1.5 cups of confectioner's sugar. I'm putting it right into a fine mesh strainer because we want to sift out any lumps. We want a nice, smooth glaze. Then using a spoon or spatula, whatever you have, just start working it through the strainer. There you go. To this, we're going to add just a few more ingredients. Some melted butter, 4 tablespoons, and then 2 tablespoons each of whole milk, and of course, our limoncello. Keep the milk on standby just in case you need to thin out your glaze. Just whisk, slowly pulling in all the sugar from the sides of the bowl. Oh no. I'm a mess. This glaze should be fairly thick, but still runny enough to drizzle down the side of our Bundt cake. Okay, you want to use this quickly. Grab a spoon. Then work your way around your cake, allowing it to drizzle down the sides into the center and across the top. There you have it, our beautiful lemon olive oil Bundt cake with limoncello glaze. All of these lemony treats make a perfect gift, and I'm going to show you some fun ways that I like to package them when giving them to friends and neighbors. Let's start with our Bundt cake. I'm going to carefully transfer it, looking for some naked cake space, right into the center of our charger. Don't forget about our gorgeous lemon curd tartlets. These could be a little tricky to transport, but I discovered a trick. I bought this cute little shallow tin at a craft store, and I'm going to put in just a small layering of sprinkles. That's going to help keep them in place. And of course, they match our little tartlets. Just kind of nestle them in. Don't overcrowd, but look how cute this looks. A lot of people are going to be begging me for this limoncello. Have a solution for that too. Have this cute lemon rubber stamp and some yellow ink. Just give it a little pat, and then with just any fine tip marker, grab some twine, string it through your little tag, and we'll tie it to the sides of our bottle. Aren't these so cute? And there you have it, 3 delicious and adorable gifts that I know my friends and family are just going to love. They also happen to make an excellent bribe.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.